Hi Artsies. So here I am in my home art studio on the floor. I want to explain to you the next step after we've finished our drawing challenges. What we're going to do is we're going to take those drawings and we're going to turn it into a t-shirt design that is screen printed as a class. So each one of us is responsible for a singular component of a drawing that is in the shape of a circle. And so what we're going to be doing is going back through our sketchbook, through all the different drawing challenges that we did, and kind of finding a window, think of it like a magnifying glass, where we're going to zoom in on something interesting from our past challenges. So to demonstrate, I don't have a sketchbook with the drawing challenges. I have an old sketchbook of mine that I just happen to have at home with a variety of different drawings in here, including some from my young son. So I'm going to show you the process. So I have some circles here. I've got a random jar lid. I do also have a circle tracer, anything that makes a circle, and it can be a variety of sizes. What I'm going to be doing is going back through my old drawings, and you should do the same through your old drawing challenges, whether it's the cross-hatching one or the negative space one, and trying to find interesting windows into part of your drawing. Okay, so so here's an old pencil drawing that I did. So I want to kind of look through, say, this one, and find an interesting moment that I can. And you might be wondering, what the heck is an interesting moment? Well, you want to kind of look for something that kind of frames part of your drawing in an interesting way. So here I've got this framed up, and if I cover the other ones, you can see that it's got like part of the curl of this portrait and part of the eye, and it's kind of a balance of two different kinds of shapes, and that I find that kind of interesting, right? That's more interesting than just framing it centered on the eye, which I think is kind of expected and kind of boring. Okay, so that could be a drawing. I could go back and I could circle this as a potential drawing. I keep on flipping through. Here's a kind of a different style of drawing. I've got a cartoony drawing over here that I did. Again, I can kind of like zero in on part of a drawing. I can focus in on maybe an unusual part. So here you've got like the folds of the tank top and kind of some interesting lines that I zero in. And I can choose to do like a bigger crop. So I can choose a bigger circle to crop into if I think that's kind of cool. Or maybe I focus in on her shoes and her kind of pigeon-toed feet, which is also kind of cute. Now, the thing is, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be turning this into a screen print. So even if I pick this, my final design needs to be in black and white only. It's not in color. So some of the drawing challenges we did with color, but you'll have to translate the design into black and white, which can be a little bit trickier. So I've got this, I made a circle around this one design. So keep on flipping through. These are more like realistic drawings and shading, which is awesome, but that's super colored, and that's not going to be a great fit for me because, again, we're looking for a black and white design. Here's kind of an old abstract design I was doing. Cool shapes again, but not black and white, so I'm going to skip along that. Now this has got a lot more color than your drawings did because we did lots of shading and black and white and negative space. You might have some more design. So I'm flipping through old sketches and doodles. This is kind of a black and white gray kind of situation from an old mural design I was designing. So this could work. It's kind of black and white, and so I could frame that and so on. And you're going to do the same. So you go back through your old drawing challenges. Here are some of my son's drawings. You know, this is not nice and black and white. Maybe I choose something like this, but I'm not going to center this because that's kind of expected. I might do this and then add another detail or something like that if I were to choose that drawing. So kind of keep on circling through. There was a couple black and white ones later. Oh, some pressed leaves in there. Here's an example like the black and white. Now we're talking a cool, interesting circle that's a good balance of black and white. So I might choose to circle that because that's a kind of cool design. Here's like a kind of an abstract kind of cliff face, the top of a cliff with some rocks with some hatching on there. So that's another cool design that I might circle. Okay, so ultimately that's what you're doing. You're trying to pick 6 possible sections of your old drawings that you are going to then turn into your final design. Okay, and so there is a version of this on Google Classroom. Essentially, these are small designs that you can try out the smaller circle. Ultimately, you want to recreate your design onto this bigger circle. So I think what I would do is I'm going to take a look. What is my strongest design? You're not making a new design. You're taking a look at those like circles, the things in your sketchbook that you thought were kind of interesting, kind of cool. And you're going to try to recreate it on the big one. So I'm going to take this one because that's kind of cool. And I'm going to grab a black marker, and in that big circle, I'm going to recreate that circle. Drawing it in nice and bold. Now, this is such a small section of your drawing, it shouldn't be too hard to recreate that one section. All right, so I got some hatching there. And if you want, you can add some like different touches that weren't in your original drawing, a little bit more detail. I'm going to add some flat areas there, just to give a bit of a sense. So I've got good contrast, a zoom in crop of that section up there, and that's what I'm going to use for the circle. Okay, so that's going to be the circle that I'm going to contribute to the class design on the t-shirt. The t-shirt design, and this will also be on Classroom. We talked about it on our last period. These are potential like little thumbnails for how you design. So we've got 32 in our class currently. And so how could you space 32 dots on an interesting way in the shirt? So using these small ones, I can kind of show you. I use the marker just so it's visible on the video. You can use the pencil or whatever. So one way you could do it is you've got 32. You could make a grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna run out of room here, but that kind of design, so it's like an equally spaced grid of 32 dots or 32 circles. That's one option. Another option would be to create an interesting shape. So I'm going to maybe use 32 circles and fill them in to make an interesting shape, like a triangle or something like that. That is your next challenge, is to come up with a design where you don't have to fill in the circles, but on the big t-shirt design, what is your best idea for how you could include all 32 dots for all of our designs as a class in an interesting way? Could you make a shape? Can you have a pattern? Do you think it's strongest to do a grid? However you decide to do it, you're going to draw on this big one, making sure that there are spaces for 32 dots in an interesting way. And all the dots don't need to be the same size necessarily even. You could have smaller ones if you wanted to make it look like it's floating away, just like that. Okay, so you're going to come up with a t-shirt design that includes 32 dots, 32 circles, and bring that into class. All right, so hopefully that helps explain the process of taking our sketchbook drawing challenges from our sketchbook, bringing them into a circle design that's interesting, and then putting together a class design that we're going to all screen print together. All right, have fun.